Welcome to today's news briefing. Up next, we'll take a look at the latest developments unfolding across the world's major hotspots.
Event number 1. UAE Ministry of Defense releases video of intercepting and destroying Iranian drones. Event number 2. Huge fire in Iranian capital following Israeli attacks on oil infrastructure. Event number 3. Mr. Donald Trump expressed interest in the possibility of deploying U.S. ground troops to Iran.
And now, for the details.
The UAE Ministry of Defense released a video on Sunday showing an Iranian drone being intercepted and destroyed. According to the Associated Press, the ministry said earlier in the day that its air defense forces had successfully intercepted and destroyed 16 Iranian missiles, while one fell into the sea. The agency added that a total of 117 drones were detected, with 113 intercepted and destroyed, while 4 fell within the nation's territory. Since the Iranian attacks began, 238 ballistic missiles and 422 drones have been detected. Most of them have been intercepted and destroyed by defense systems. Large fires broke out in Iran's capital on Sunday following precise Israeli strikes on oil and gas infrastructure. According to the Associated Press, Iranian authorities said that overnight Israeli airstrikes on 4 oil storage tanks and an oil and gas transfer station left 4 people dead. Witnesses in Tehran said the smoke was so thick it looked as if the sun couldn't rise. The Israeli military claimed these oil depots were being used by the Iranian military as fuel for launching missiles. The Iranian Red Crescent Society said about 10,000 civilian structures across the country were damaged, including homes, schools, and nearly 36 medical facilities. The agency also warned Tehran residents to take precautions against toxic air pollution and the risk of acid rain following the Israeli attacks. While the Israeli-attacked oil depots continued to smolder in Tehran, raising environmental warnings, the Iranian president vowed to expand attacks on U.S. targets in the region on the 9th day of the war. U.S. President Donald Trump has privately expressed serious interest in the possibility of deploying U.S. ground troops to Iran. He has discussed this option with aides and senior Republicans outside the White House, according to a report by NBC News. Participants in these talks noted that Trump was not talking about a full-scale military campaign, but rather a limited deployment of forces to achieve specific strategic objectives. According to the sources, during the discussions, Trump also outlined his vision for Iran's future after the war. In this scenario, Iran's uranium would be secured, and the country's new regime would cooperate with the U.S. on oil, similar to Washington's current relationship with Venezuela. However, the sources stressed that Trump has not yet made a final decision or ordered a troop deployment. The American Network's report was based on information from 2 current U.S. officials, one former senior official, and another person familiar with the discussions. In response, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that the article was based on assumptions from anonymous sources who are not part of the president's national security team and were not involved in the discussions. President Donald Trump has privately discussed the idea of deploying a small group of U.S. troops in Iran for specific strategic purposes, but according to sources, he is not focused on a large-scale ground invasion. It's a waste of time. They've lost everything. They lost their navy. They lost everything they could lose, Trump said, dismissing the Iranian foreign minister's assertion that Tehran was ready for a ground invasion. He emphasized that the United States is focused on continuing its air and missile campaign, rather than planning for a large-scale ground operation. Trump's comments came as the U.S. and Israel continued Operation Epic Fury, an ongoing military campaign launched last week following joint attacks on Iranian targets, which included the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The conflict has spread throughout the Middle East and has triggered significant regional responses. In this context, the leader of a Kurdish nationalist group in Iran, based in the semi-autonomous Kurdish region of northern Iraq, told Al Jazeera that it is highly likely that Iranian Kurds will launch a cross-border ground campaign into Iran. Babasheh Hosseini, Secretary General of the Chabad Organization of Iranian Kurdistan, said on Friday that there is no campaign yet, but the United States has been in contact with the group, and they are considering a military operation. We have had plans for a long time, and now that conditions are more favorable, the possibility of action is very high. Hosseini told Al Jazeera from the Kurdish region, "We have not yet reached a final decision, but it is very likely that we will move toward a ground campaign," Hosseini added. "The Americans have contacted us through various channels. Although we have not met in person so far, they have made contact," the resistance leader concluded. Meanwhile, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, said on Saturday that it had targeted separatist groups in the Kurdish region as the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran entered its second week. The IRGC said in a statement published by the Tasnim news agency that 3 locations of separatist groups in the Kurdistan region of Iraq were attacked,